Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
Temperatures 25 degrees colder today than it was yesterday, and we have not hit rock bottom yet.
All right, Ben, also they were thrown out like the trash. Adorable puppies left on the side of the freeway until one brave man came along.
And a string of racist and anti-Semitic emails under investigation at the University of Michigan. Thanks for being with us for the news at 5.
We're going to start today with breaking news from Port Huron, where a pickup truck has crashed into a classroom at Port Huron High School. Here's a picture a viewer just sent us. We're still gathering information on whether anyone was hurt. In fact, we've got Sky 4 on the way. But as you can see, different than the usual afternoon at Port Huron High. Any new developments will come to you during this newscast and at clickondetroit.com.
Now to our other top story tonight, those threatening and racist emails sent late last night to students at the University of Michigan.
They pretended to be from a computer engineering professor. The FBI is now assisting U of M police, and they believe that that professor had nothing to do with it. Jason Colthorpe's been investigating both the emails and what students are saying. Jason?
The emails were sent to a small section of students, just a few hundred engineering students, but now word is spreading and students all over campus have either seen those emails or at least heard about them.
I was really angry. I was hurt.
Lauren McCree isn't an engineering student, but saw the emails shortly after they went out.
I mean, it's a hate and a threat. So, and I don't take threats lightly. So I felt like this was something that needed to be said, needed to be handled. And I feel like the university should take action on this because, like, do we wait till the threat becomes reality, or can we just avoid it altogether?
The emails use slurs and reference the KKK and SS in a threat to kill blacks and Jews.
The content of these messages is absolutely abhorrent. It doesn't reflect our values, doesn't reflect our students. It's not who we are at Michigan.
U of M is taking these emails seriously. Campus police has brought in the FBI on the investigation and now believe Professor Alex Holderman wasn't hacked. They think his account was spoofed.
The good news in this case is that no one accessed, no one breached any IT security protocols at the University of Michigan. It's this email forgery to make it look like it came from someone that it didn't come from.
So why Professor Holderman? While that's still under investigation, the emails both use the phrase Heil Trump. In November, Holderman was on the forefront of the Jill Stein charge for a presidential recount in Michigan and other states. Now, McCree also told me in her 4 years at Michigan, she's dealt with other racist incidents, graffiti or flyers, and in those cases was very disappointed that the perpetrators were never brought to justice. Now, she and other students very adamant this time that this is a different situation and that doesn't happen. Reporting live tonight, Jason Colthorpe, Local 4.
Well, Jason, the president of U of M, Mark Schlissel, tweeted about this at 2:30 in the morning, which tells you something about his level of engagement on this.
Yeah, he has been from the start, Devin, and he denounced the emails and told students he'd keep them abreast on the investigation. Students actually marched to his house 2 hours after these emails were sent, about 12:30 in the morning, demanded to talk to him, and he came out engaged, talked to students about everything that was going on. So clearly, yes, Michigan taking this very seriously. Sure. Devin?
All right, Jason. Well, what a difference 24 hours makes. Late last night, temperatures in the mid-50s. Weird.
Yeah, you're right. And since then, they've been steadily dropping. Ben's tracking some cooler weather as we head into tonight. Hi there, Ben.
Hey, Kim. Yeah, temperatures aren't going to be the only story. We're going to start talking wind chills again before too long. Even though they feel slightly cooler, that's not a big difference out there right now. Air temperatures are almost everywhere below freezing. The other thing we're watching are some very light snow showers. Adrian and Monroe coming up dry, but down here at Lambertville at the state line, reporting 1.25 miles in light snow. This is going to slowly wrap up here. Most of us are going to stay dry tonight, and then we'll start looking for tomorrow. And the big story is going to be the wind chills, 0 to 10 above tomorrow. But Friday morning is going to be the coldest of the stretch. We'll pinpoint that and see how warm we get for the weekend as that roller coaster starts heading back up. More on that ahead in your 4-zone forecast, guys.
Hey, Ben, thank you. New developments to a story out of Northwest Detroit. 2 men are in police custody after shots were fired on Winston Street near Grand River and 7 Mile. Police say a woman was moving out of her ex-boyfriend's house with the help of her 2 brothers. Well, that's when her ex-boyfriend showed up with his new girlfriend. The brothers and the ex-boyfriend got into an argument and shots were fired. One of the brothers was shot in the back and taken to the hospital. The other brother was arrested. The ex-boyfriend was also shot. He is in police custody tonight. As we first reported last night at 11 in an exclusive interview, State Representative Brian Banks, who was forced to resign this week as part of a plea deal, isn't ready to say goodbye to politics.
And this afternoon, Banks announced a March fundraiser for his political action committee. Now, he's not committing to a run for office, but he's certainly not ruling it out either.
The work must continue. It's not about a title. It's not about a position. Our schools are being taken away from us. The public education system is being dismantled. We have accident survivors from car accidents who are fighting to keep the coverage and the benefits that they need.
Banks' fundraiser for his PAC being billed as Banks Forward. We'll see if that translates to Banks on the ballot again. It's a saga that lasted 27 years. Today, a Detroit man is out of prison after a judge has granted him a new trial.
Bernard Young was sent to prison on child sex charges all the way back in 1989, but it was late last year when one of his accusers took back his testimony and said they convicted the wrong man. Rod Maloney is live tonight as we wait for Young to arrive back here in Metro Detroit. Rod, this case still isn't over, though.
No, not by a long shot here. Now, let's be clear. This is the third one of these that I've covered in the past year. Okay, we had Devontae Sanford last June, then we had Lamar Munson last week, and now today Bernard Young. Now, Bernard Young was released by the MDOC this afternoon down in Coldwater, and he's on his way here to his attorney's offices right now. But before he gets here, and he should be here in about a half hour, let's hear his story. MDOC prisoner number 203563 at the Lakeland Correctional Facility in Coldwater was 58-year-old Bernard Young. He served 27 years of a 60 to 100-year sentence for 6 counts of criminal sexual conduct. Here's a much happier picture of him with his niece Chantal during a family visit a couple of years ago. The earliest he could have expected to leave prison was 2038. That's 21 years from now at age 79. But tonight he's a free man after his family paid a $5,000 bond when a judge ordered him a new trial.
I know that William did it for a fact, and I know that Bernard for a fact did not do it.
Back in September, the case against Young crumbled when one of the Young victims, Thomas Tadlock, who was 6 years old at the time, testified against Young in that 1989 trial. He appeared in a Detroit courtroom and tearfully recanted his story.
Because the innocent man is sitting in prison.
William was his mother's boyfriend, and Tadlock said that she knew about the abuse at the time and did nothing while allowing Young to take the fall. But why did a little boy help send a man to prison this way? Fear of her mother's boyfriend.
That he was going to kill me, my mom, and my family.
Why would you be scared of something like that?
Because he said that he was going to do it.
Now, this is far from over because Kim Worthy's office is telling me this afternoon that they don't agree with any of this. They didn't want him released. They didn't want him to have bond. They wanted him released to the sheriff's custody and put on a tether, but the judge said no to all of that. So, as I said, he's on his way here, and he should be here any minute. When he gets here, we'll talk to him, and we'll have that for you on Local 4 News at 6. Reporting live in Southfield, Rod Maloney, Local 4.
Right, Rod. Well, Detroit police say they plan to review surveillance video to find out who left 2 suspicious packages this morning near the federal building here in downtown Detroit. By 10:30, after hours of investigating, Detroit police and the FBI gave the scene on Howard near 3rd and 1st Streets the all clear. The packages turned out to be a garment bag and an electronic speaker.
Now to Washington, where President Trump is using his favorite megaphone, Twitter, to blast judges as he awaits the ruling on his controversial travel ban. As that happens, the president's attorney general nominee, Jeff Sessions, is headed for a confirmation vote. We expect that's going to happen around 7 o'clock this evening, but not before a bit of a flare-up on the Senate floor. Tracy Potts following it for us from Washington. Tracy.
Hey there, Devin. Good evening. Good evening, everyone from Washington, where we've learned that there will not be a decision announced in the travel ban case tonight. President Trump today really going after the judges, calling the questioning disgraceful. And he said it's a case that even a bad high school student could understand. Speaking to law enforcement this morning, President Trump had harsh words for the federal appeals court considering the temporary travel ban.
I don't ever want to call a court biased, so I won't call it biased. And we haven't had a decision yet. But courts seem to be so political. It would be so great for our justice system if they would be able to read a statement and do what's right.
The judges are weighing whether to keep the ban in place, which affects travelers from 7 mostly Muslim countries. A ruling is expected this week. Congress today is in a battle of its own over the confirmation of Alabama Senator Jeff Sessions as Attorney General.
They are cramming terrible nominees down the throats of the American people.
During an all-night talkathon against Sessions, Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren read a 30-year-old letter from Coretta Scott King about voter suppression during Sessions' tenure as Alabama's Attorney General.
That the words of
She was silenced by Senate leadership for breaking Rule 19, which prevents senators from disparaging colleagues on the Senate floor.
When Elizabeth Warren takes to the floor, it drives the Republicans' blood pressure through the roof.
There are rules. We're supposed to abide by those rules. When those rules are not adhered to, people need to be called out.
Republicans do have the votes to confirm Sessions tonight.
Make America great again.
Senate leaders are hoping to get a couple of other confirmations done this week for the Treasury Department and Health and Human Services. From Washington, Tracy Potts, Local 4.
All right, Tracy. Bringing it back home today, Detroit Mayor Duggan spoke out on Dan Gilbert's proposal for the Wayne County jail site.
Duggan says on the surface, Gilbert's offer to build a jail complex at a different location is a good idea.
If they've got a plan that doesn't cost Wayne County taxpayers anymore, I think he'll take it. I think a Warren in 75 makes very good sense as a site for a criminal justice center. I never thought Mound Road made sense. It would have been totally inconvenient for jurors and witnesses and the like.
The proposed complex would be on East Forest Avenue near I-75. Gilbert is offering to build that in return for the land along Gratiot, where they're currently building that project. He, of course, wants to use that for a new Major League Soccer stadium.
Yep. Stay tuned. Much more ahead here at 5, including our Sean Lay. Sean?
A shock for motorists, a big-time mystery for police after an elderly man found beaten and bloodied in the middle of Finkel Street. We'll talk to the person who found him and also why police say this is a big-time mystery for them.
Imagine driving down the road and you see what you think is trash. Instead, these precious pups popped their head out of a bin. How they ended up on the side of the road and what one driver did that likely saved their lives.
All right, Jermont, but first, tragedy under the Big Top in Florida. 5 people fall from a high wire, including one very well-known entertainer. That's next.
Tonight, new at 6.
Justice for Meatball. You'll find out how long this dog's abuser will spend behind bars for the beating that was captured on camera.
Plus, a judge's difficult decision to send this mother back to the Macomb County Jail, where only a few days earlier she had to give birth on the floor of a cell.
A group of Florida circus performers was on the high wire rehearsing what was intended to be a world record-breaking pyramid stunt when they lost their balance and fell. 8 performers were on the high wire when the accident happened. 8, including world-famous acrobat Nick Wallenda. Wallenda was not hurt. The extent of the injuries to the others, though, still not revealed just yet.
Well, who could do something like this? These adorable little puppies were left to die after somebody left them along I-94. But tonight they're safe thanks to someone who noticed something was wrong. Our Jermont Terry shows us what one man did to get them to safety.
A DTE worker was driving along 94 when he noticed a PT Cruiser pulling over to the side of the road. He thought maybe they had car troubles, but what he noticed next shocked him, sending him into rescue mode.
And someone had dumped him in a PT Cruiser, and I pulled over and went over there and grabbed him.
Well, you are a hero, my friend.
The quick actions of one guy saved these 3 puppies. They were dumped on the side of the road by someone who didn't care if the pit bull puppies lived or not. After scooping them up, the DTE worker called the Detroit Pit Crew Dog Rescue, who recorded this video.
I was about to keep going because I just thought it was this, you know, like some trash or something.
Right.
But then when he hopped up,
you saw it moving.
Yeah, I seen him. I'm like, what
oh,
the,
God,
you know?
Thank God you saw him.
He likely saved their lives, but they're also hoping to find the person who was so cruel to these precious pups.
They had on like a brown coat with like a brown hat. So their back was to me. I was like all the way behind. And I seen them put him down. And then they came around like this, it jumped in the car, and
then took off.
Yep.
The dogs are safe and will be available soon for adoption. The group's rescue group says that at least one of them tested positive for parvo. Along 94 on the east side, Jermont Terry, Local 4.
Good. He was alert and saw them.
What's
They're
better
cute.
than a pile of puppies?
Oh, I know.
It's just pretty darn
As cute
sweet.
as can be.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, what a change we've had. This is a big switch. It was very strange last night to get home, as I'm sure you found it too, to get out of the car at midnight and it was that warm.
Yeah, I mean,
Really
it was close to 60.
Yeah, I didn't need a coat, yeah.
We're thinking about replacing the 10-day forecast with just a calendar on the app because you never know what month you're in around here. Now the numbers have gone back down to very close to average for this time of year. We're right around the freezing mark. In fact, just south of it now, 31 at Metro, a lot of 20s here north of 8 Mile in our north zone, 26 in Pontiac, 24 in Lapeer. Doing the math from yesterday at 5 p.m., and keep in mind that wasn't our warmest period, but just from 5 p.m. yesterday, temperatures are 13 to 25 degrees colder now than what they were. And again, it's 8 o'clock when we saw that maximum temperature, and that's when the temperatures are likely going to see the greatest change later on this evening. But we wanted to show you the 24-hour loop. All that rain ran through. We got a little bit of a dry spot, and then we were watching some snow that is just brushing our south border tonight. It's putting some snow down there towards the state line, but not really any significant accumulation. So these were the rainfall totals up in Macomb County. Of course, they were watching very closely in Fraser. Over an inch of rain fell. And after some very tense moments, they're telling us that there really weren't any additional problems because of the rain, which is good news. Close to an inch out in Harrison Township, and Roseville picked up 8/10. Officially at Metro, by the way, we did get over an inch of rain, so it wasn't just Macomb County that got the brunt of that. So here's how the rest of tonight's going to shake out. Maybe a couple flakes around late, and again, maybe in tomorrow morning, but nothing as far as accumulation goes. We're going to get brushed by a clipper here. This is Friday morning at 10 o'clock, so basically our north zone is what we're looking at, seeing a couple flakes. But look at this warm front. That is going to be bringing in temperatures again above average. We're going back to the mid-40s as we go into Saturday and Sunday. And really our next weather maker is going to be rain, not snow. 18 tonight with that possible snow shower. Again, should not be anything significant from that. 24 on the high side. That's what the thermometer is going to say tomorrow. But look at how it's going to feel in our 4-zone forecast. Metro wind chills. This is pretty much the entire day, not just the coldest part of the morning. Anywhere between 4 and 8 above is how it's going to feel for the majority of the day. Down in our south zone, 2 to 7 is what we're looking at for wind chills. Not a whole lot of variation, but I guess the good news is they're all positive. No negative wind chills tomorrow. Between 2 and 5 in our west zone, and generally the same here north of M59 in our north zone for wind chills tomorrow. Coldest spot is going to be Friday morning, 13 in the city. Wouldn't be surprised if there are a couple single-digit temperatures to start out Friday, and then we go right back up. They're in the mid-40s Saturday and Sunday, as we're expecting a good amount of rain Sunday, probably not as much as what we picked up yesterday.
It's been a little hyperbolic lately.
Yeah,
keeping everybody on their toes.
For the roller coaster ride. All right, Ben, thank you. Well, snowboarding, ice skating, ice dancing. Metro Detroit is poised to be well represented in the next Winter Olympics. Tonight, you'll meet the rising stars making the D their training ground to reach their Olympic dreams. It doesn't even feel like it should be time for the Olympics.
No.
Hi, Doc.
Hey guys, you know, asthma can sometimes make staying active a challenge. So coming up in Good Health, a look at one activity that can actually help ease the symptoms.
All right, we continue to follow breaking news from Port Huron tonight, where a pickup truck has crashed into a classroom at Port Huron High School. You're looking live at video from Sky 4 right now over the scene. We've learned a father was picking up his daughter when the brakes in his pickup truck there stopped working. You see police officers there, emergency crews maybe on the scene working. The truck jumped a curb, crashed into the wall of an empty classroom, so that was good. Fortunately, there was nobody inside the school at the time, and the person in the truck was not hurt. So we'll continue to monitor this situation for you.
Really lucky at that time of day. You'd expect
it to be loaded with kids, yeah.
Now to Good Health, more than 6 million kids in the U.S. have asthma.
And that can sometimes make staying active a little bit of a challenge. Dr. Frank McGeorge is here with a look at one activity that can actually help ease their symptoms, Doc.
Exactly, Devin and Kimberly. In fact, you know, fearing an asthma attack, many children and their parents tend to shy away from too much exercise. But under proper supervision, swimming can be an excellent option. So doctors are encouraging more families to take the plunge. 11-year-old Christian Jackson suffers from severe asthma, so exercise hasn't always been easy. At times, it's triggered a serious attack.
When it starts to flare up, like my shoulders go up, it feels tight, like everything's kind of blacking out because it feels like I'm gonna faint or something.
Christian relies on daily medication to control his asthma. In the past, he struggled to find safe ways to stay fit, until he was introduced to the pool.
If you want a specific recommendation as to an activity that won't trigger an asthma attack, swimming tends to be a great one.
Dr. Todd Olin says the humid air of an indoor pool helps keep airways open. Exercising outdoors, especially in the cold, can have the opposite effect.
The airways dry out a little bit, and then that sets off a cascade of reactions that ultimately squeezes down the airway.
Experts say swimming also helps kids control their breathing because they're forced to take long, deep breaths before going under. Swimming can help kids strengthen their lung function and transition to playing other sports they love.
When you get them into that pool with that warm air and teach them how to regulate their breathing, they can do a lot more with physical activity than they would be able to do otherwise.
It's worked for Christian, whose time in the pool has led to vast improvements in his lungs.
It feels like it strengthens them. It really strengthens my muscles, and it's also really fun.
A couple other important points. While the risk may be lower, it's still important for children to have their inhaler on the pool deck. And because chemicals can also trigger symptoms in some people, you need to make sure that that pool is well maintained and there is no strong smell of chlorine.
Yeah. I hadn't thought of that. Yeah.
But great all the way around. Good excuse to get in the pool, everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Swimming.
All right, Doc.
Thanks, Doc.
New at 5:30.
Out of 25 Evans Scholars in the state of Michigan, Cass Tech has 3 of them, and they're pretty impressive. Their stories next.
A Michigan officer opens fire as a traffic stop goes very wrong. What happened right before those gunshots that left the officers no choice?
Coming up only on Local 4, an elderly man found beaten and bloodied in the middle of the street. The aftermath captured on Facebook Live.
Somebody done attacked the man. He out here laying on the ground on Finkel Cruz.
How this man is doing and why police are calling this a big-time mystery.
It's dinner time. Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 5:30 starts now.
He was beaten and left in the middle of the road. Now police need help finding his attackers. It has been more than a month since the 62-year-old was discovered nearly beaten to death.
Good Samaritans found him lying in the street not far from his house on Finkel and Cruz on Detroit's west side. Sean Lay following that story today. And Sean, even though he doesn't know why he was targeted and brutally attacked, but apparently he was targeted.
Yeah, police were right at the scene. They followed up with this 62-year-old in interviews. He says he simply does not remember what happened. He was hit so hard and left right in the middle of this intersection. Luckily, as you're about to see, some witnesses, Good Samaritans, came forward to help get him out of the road before he could have been run over.
Yeah. Somebody done attacked the man. He out here laying on the ground on Finkel Cruz. I don't know who family this is. We called the police.
That's Tamara Liberty Smith on Facebook Live back on January 3rd. She and some other Good Samaritans in a panic, calling 911 after finding a man beaten and bloodied in the middle of Finkel Street just west of Schaefer. It was just after 9 that evening.
He's saying help him. Oh my God, this is crazy.
Help did arrive. Detroit police got to the man, but the case tonight remains a mystery. That man is 62 years old, and he is known on his block, Cruz Street, just a few feet away from where the attack took place. But when police spoke with him and followed up with him, the man was hit so hard, he doesn't know what happened to him or who it was who attacked him. Did it pass through your mind that it's a possible hate crime?
It did. It baffled me to see a white man laying in the middle of Finkel. Come to find out he's been a long-time resident around here. So maybe 40, 50 years. Sir, we gonna help you. We getting somebody for you. We getting somebody. Oh my God, this state's a mess.
Smith at the scene went on Facebook Live hoping a member of the man's family would see it.
We called the police, share this video. The man out here laying in the street, somebody has attacked him. I don't know what's going on. We called the police. I don't know who family member this is. He is alive.
Back here live, that victim still alive weeks later, but still recovering. Tamara, who you saw in our video, she says there was a witness, a woman who saw 5 guys involved in this. Tonight, police are asking more witnesses to come forward if they can help identify who did this. Devin, back to you.
Well, any leads at all then in this case, Sean?
I'm told that investigators have theories about what happened, but no leads. They say this was a definite ambush, an attack on a 62-year-old, but he doesn't remember a thing, so they can't even offer him a lineup right now.
Oh, wow. All right, Sean. Other news tonight, a woman with a long history of driving without a license is heading to prison for hitting and killing a motorcyclist in Romulus.
Last April, Sharday Green ran a stop sign and hit and killed 23-year-old Roberto Diaz on Ecorse Road. Today, she was back in court and heard from Diaz's parents moments before she was sentenced to prison.
I ask that you put her in prison for as long as possible to keep others safe from her negligent acts. And if at all possible, make her take a driving course and get a valid driver's license, because we all know that when she gets out of prison, she will surely be back on the roads.
Thank you very much. Green had 5 previous convictions of driving without a license. A judge sentenced her to 3 to 15 years in prison.
Across Michigan this Wednesday, stories from Kalamazoo and the state capitol in Lansing.
But let's start in Charlevoix County, where police have just released body camera video of an officer-involved shooting.
Okay, and you're at a .173. Okay, so you're twice the legal limit.
Mr. Martin, put your hand behind your back. Taser, taser, taser.
Jared Martin, who you see here, was pulled over by a Charlevoix County deputy in October. When the deputy tried to put Jared in handcuffs, things got out of hand and he was tased. His father, Steve Martin, had been waiting in a truck across the street and drove toward them. A deputy then fired several shots. 2 of them hit Steve Martin in the arm. Martin faces multiple charges.
Just into 2017, which means time for Governor Snyder to present his 2018 spending recommendations for the state. The executive budget proposes $10.1 billion in general fund spending. According to the plan, spending on Michigan's 15 public universities would increase by roughly 2.5%, getting it back to the funding levels of around 2011. More than $48 million would be sent to support Flint's recovery from the water crisis. Governor's also proposing a $20 million deposit into the Michigan Infrastructure Fund.
A new boat called Bronco 1 is going to be patrolling Kalamazoo County waters. The renaming of the County Marine Division boat was part of a ceremony recognizing the accomplishments of the WMU football team during its 2016-17 season. You may recall, row the boat is their slogan, but in an ironic twist, this boat doesn't need oars.
It should get them just to make the points.
At least paint them on or something, right? Valentine's Day less than a week away, and it is time to order flowers if you have not already. But where can you get the best deal?
Our Hank Winchester has a preview of a Help Me Hank flower test, which is coming your way tonight at 11. Hank?
When you place an order for Valentine's flowers, do you ever wonder, did the arrangement that got delivered actually look like the one in that photo that was advertised? Well, we're putting that to the test, and also learning from experts about how you can get the most for your money.
Hop online looking to purchase flowers, it can be overwhelming.
From Help Me, Frank actors in.
No, not Frank.
And it can also be frustrating.
I'm sorry, that's H-A-M-P?
From Help, H-E-L-P, Me, M-E-H-A-N-K.
We placed 3 orders online, one for Kimberly Gill, one for Rhonda Walker, and Karen Drew.
For women, it doesn't matter how many roses, you want them to be big and beautiful when they arrive, so like everyone at work gets jealous. You don't want to have these ones.
Okay, here you go.
All
Happy
right.
Valentine's Day.
Thank you, Hank.
Let's see how they look.
All right. Looking at the picture, I mean, you're expecting something a lot bigger.
Tonight at 11, you'll see which flowers wowed us and which arrangements we ordered online fell flat. Before you order flowers again, you must watch our Help Me Hank flower test tonight at 11.
Flower drama in the newsroom.
So far, it looks like Kimberly was the only one who was just happy to be getting flowers.
That is a true point. I think Rhonda and I were a little critical.
I know. Wow. All right, tonight
She is
at
always
11.
So sweet.
This next story is yet another reminder that hard work and dedication pay off. 3
Cass Tech students who work as golf caddies outside of school each have been awarded a full-ride college scholarship. It's all part of the Evans Scholars Program. Jamie Edmonds caught up with them today.
Of the more than 100 applicants, 23 Evans Scholars were awarded here in Michigan, 3 of those from right here at Cass Tech High School. When Jared Ingram, Ariel Gill, and Ainsley Woodward started caddying back in freshman year, they admit they didn't know too much about golf, only that their gig paid pretty well. All 3 say those funds went a long way in helping out in their single mother households.
My mom asked me, she didn't want to, but she asked me to help out, and ever since then I just would do it.
See, our parents don't usually like us paying for things, but sometimes you just gotta say, hey, Mom, take this.
But soon they learned they could get much more out of it, like a full ride to college with room and board through the Evans Scholarship.
When college is paid for, you get to just focus on school more.
It's not easy to get a scholarship. Applicants must have a strong caddy record, excellent grades, financial need, and outstanding character. Recently, they all got the good news. Jarrett was playing basketball.
And it said, congratulations. So I dropped the ball. I almost dropped my phone. I just took off running.
Ariel and Ainsley are going to Michigan. Jared to Michigan State, where they will need to keep up their GPA. The national average is 3.2. But you don't have to worry about these 3. They already have their goals in mind.
I want to be a future dentist in Detroit, so biology major at U of M.
I want to major in finance or marketing.
So I want to obtain a bachelor's degree in accounting to soon get an MBA, and then my long-term goal is to become a venture capitalist.
In Detroit, Jamie Edmonds, Local 4.
I lived next door to the Evans Scholars when I was in college.
Really?
I just thought, what a cool thing.
It really is.
Caddying took you that far. Yeah, really awesome.
Wants to be a venture capitalist. That's pretty impressive.
That's pretty slick too, isn't it? Yeah. Well, this could have been so much worse.
What this tornado came feet away from that could have set a very important project back years. Kimberly.
And Metro Detroiters chasing Olympic gold. Meet the local athletes and see who just moved here to prepare for her return to the Winter Olympics.
Jeopardy is new at 6.
A partnership between 5 local health systems paying off in lives saved. You'll find out how many heart attack victims are still alive thanks to this new approach.
Plus, this local mom was on her way to Sky Zone with her kids, but she ended up in jail. New at 6, the reason why, plus why her husband was arrested soon after she was.
Feels like we just got done with Rio.
Doesn't it?
We have a year to go, but we are already getting excited for the 2018 Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang, South Korea.
365 days until the competition starts, and Kimberly Gill is back with the athletes to watch that, they have ties to Metro Detroit, and we're really starting to build relationships with some of them.
Yes, and we're getting excited, too. It's never too early to get excited, right? Even though, we got 364 days, 6 hours, and 16 minutes. We have Olympic hopefuls in speed skating, snowboarding, and figure skating. Take a look.
Another quad toe.
At 17, Nathan Chen is already making history, the first figure skater to ever land 5 quadruple jumps in a single program. Last month, he won his first national championship and will compete in the World Championships in March, but he's already eyeing the 2018 Winter Games.
That's the biggest motivator for me, just as an athlete, to go to the Olympics and, stand on top of that podium. It's something that I feel like every single athlete dreams about.
Nathan trains in California and here in Michigan alongside ice dancers Maya and Alex Shibutani at the Arctic edge of Canton. Known as the Shib Sibs, this brother and sister duo from Ann Arbor just won back-to-back national championships. The games in South Korea will be their second.
Just the fact that we're 1 year out, we've been training for our second Olympic Games for so long, and so we're feeling really ready to go.
Yeah, we're definitely where we want to be as far as our preparations go, and the way that we've progressed since 2014, we feel really good about where we're headed.
Close competitors are Madison Chalk and Evan Bates, who train at the Novi Ice Arena.
There's definitely a healthy competition. I think they push us to be better and work harder.
Evan is from Ann Arbor. They're the 2015 national champions and also competed in Sochi.
We've said we wanted to be on the podium. We've said that in years past, and that hasn't changed. Based on our results at the World Championships, we've been on the podium the last 2 seasons, so I think it's a realistic goal.
And the third American ice dance team to watch is Madison Hubble and Zachary Donahue. Madison Hubble is from the Lansing area, and a big announcement from Gracie Gold just today.
I've just started training in Canton, Michigan.
That's right, Gracie will prepare in Canton for the next Olympic Games.
I love you. I love you.
Carly Shore is one of the Metro Detroiters hoping to get big air in South Korea as part of the U.S. snowboarding team. The Milford native got her start in Boeing, placed 6th in Sochi, and now she travels the world to compete.
Everybody wants that Olympic medal. It's like, of course I'm gonna dream for that, but I'm just gonna do my best.
Snowboarders Kyle Mack of West Bloomfield, Danny Davis of Highland, and Eric Boscheman of Grand Blanc are aiming to be on Team USA for the Games as well. Speed skaters Jessica Corman of Melvindale and Kelly Gunther of Clinton Township are hopefuls for the Winter Games. Both competed in Sochi in 2014. And no decisions yet from Merrill Davis and Charlie White about whether they will compete in another Olympics. At the 2014 Games, though, they became the first American ice dance team to win an Olympic gold medal, and they won silver in 2010. So we will wait to hear from them.
They're playing hard to get. You want to be there,
Of
Merrill
course
and
you
Charlie.
do.
We need you there.
Yeah.
Now, the interesting thing is we have become this hub for a lot of these ice dance teams, but not just American teams.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think it has to do with all the great facilities that we have here. We have the Novi Ice Arena, we have the Arctic Edge in Canton, we have the other Detroit Skating Club in West Bloomfield, and at any time, I think right now we have about 22 dancers in our area that are preparing, so that's,
Pretty
really
much
exciting.
the world capital of it. That's really awesome.
Yeah, that's right. We'll be cheering them on, and as you said, they come from all over the world.
Can you imagine just being a little kid having your practice before they all start coming on?
It's great for the kids to see that, too.
It's got to be contagious.
Yeah.
Really cool. So a year away. You ready for that?
Get your skates on, Bernie.
I'm already looking for a Korean restaurant.
Good idea.
Right, exactly right.